the number of correctional officers is not enough to enforce proper control. Therefore, this allows prisoners to deviate from prison rules, which causes disturbances in safety conditions. In turn, this affects and influences the function of service to prisoners' reform. The physical construction by increased and additional of the capacity of prison rooms. The prisoners' transference from penitentiaries of overcapacity to the prison with sufficient capacity. Optimized conferment of conditional release, conditional furlough, and parole. State Detention House. State Detention House is a place where the unconvicted or detainees are held during the wait period before judicial process. The police force investigation during the judicial investigation. The prosecuting attorney during the prosecution, and the judge of the district court during the examination of the district court sessions, the judge of the High Court if the defendant decided to appeal, and the judge of the Supreme Court if the defendant decided to bring the cassation. Indonesia applied the presumption of innocence principles in the penal system. Persons who are arrested and detained in State Detention House must be considered innocent until proven guilty before a court of law. Therefore, the arrested have rights to expect proper treatment during detention. The actual form from the treatment is the process of detention services, from the acceptance of prisoners until the releasing process, and include both spiritual and physical treatment programs. It is not an obligation of the accused to work in the State Detention House. However, the inmates still have their rights, such as rights to get food and drink, health services, spiritual guidance, family visitors, lawyer and colleagues, and also have the right to get information, etc. Meanwhile, evidence from the accused and the defendant is saved in State Confiscated Object Storage House. State Confiscated Object Storage House. State Confiscated Object Storage House is a place to keep the state confiscated and confiscated objects for judicial process, based on a verdict from the judge. All objects that are needed as evidence for the investigation, prosecution, and examination process in court are also catalogued in Storage House. State confiscated objects are also placed in Storage House. In order to do the main duty, the State Confiscated Object Storage House have a function of acceptance, maintenance, and safety, and also a function to release and to destroy unneeded confiscated goods. The State Confiscated Object Storage House is a technical implementer unit under the guidance of the Directorate General of Correction. To date, there are 62 state confiscated object storage houses spread all over Indonesia, consisting of 34 units of first class and 28 units of second class state confiscated object storage houses. Furthermore, defendants that have already received a guilty verdict from the court judges, and their status automatically changes from unconvicted to convicted and is transferred to a correctional institution. Correctional institution. A correctional institution is a place for prisoners to serve out sentences given to them by the powers that be. During the serving time inside the correctional institution, prisoners receive personality and independency development as a model to start a new life after their sentence has been served. The correctional institution is divided into several classes: child, youth, women, open correctional institution, and correctional institution for drug addicts, in order to fulfill the needs of development inside the correctional system. There is a process that consists of several stages of development concerning the inmates. The first stage of development, the advanced stage of development, and the final stage of development. The first stage of development is a monitoring activity, the introduction and examination of inmates in the correctional institution environment. Examinations for the prisoners occurs at this stage. There are several efforts in order to provide health service. Medical checks for all new prisoners and inmates. The examination is held to identify the health of the inmates who have high-risk health conditions such as tuberculosis or TBC or HIV/AIDS. Informing the prisoners about the systems of tuberculosis to help identify the inmates who contracted tuberculosis so they can be treated. Give counseling about HIV/AIDS to inform the prisoners about the symptoms, effects, and ways of contracting HIV/AIDS to help identify the inmates who have HIV/AIDS. Inmates who have HIV/AIDS are recommended to join the Voluntary Counseling and Testing, or VCT. The examination of the pregnant prisoners. Polio and BCG vaccines are given to the babies which are brought into prison with their mothers. To overcome malnutrition and sanitation problems, the correctional institution provides supplementary food, milk, and other instant food, and also several sanitation products such as soap, toothpaste, shampoo, and much more. For inmates who suffer from mental illness, the correctional institution gives special treatment by the experts in the field. Furthermore, inmates' social background is researched to determine their skills, which then help decide the proper personality and independent development programs for the inmates involved. This stage is an obligation of all inmates, which commences at the beginning of the serving of time until 1/3 the time sentence has been served, and minimum time is 30 days. The development in the first stage is detained in maximum security. The development in the advanced stage is a continuous activity from the first stage of development. The development in this stage continuously occurs until the prisoners assimilate into the correctional system. The advanced stage consists of 2 classes of security monitoring: medium and minimum security. Medium security monitoring starts at the end of the first stage of development until half the sentence is served. In this stage, dispensation is given to the prisoners to follow various kinds of activity programs that exist in the correctional institution, such as personality and independent development. Inmates have a few choices of activities and may choose which best fit their abilities and needs. The personality development programs include religious development programs, or spiritual guidance, as a spiritual and moral base and ethics in social life. The comprehension and implementation of religion is designed to support the religious sect of Indonesian society and create democratic, independent, and healthy individuals for all recognized religions. Counseling and educational activities, such as Section A study group, an elementary school level, Section